available in paperback and e-readers. Isis, Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Dark Incubus in paperback and e-readers today. Now available in paperback and e-readers. Isis, Amari's Revenge. The goddess next door is confronted by a Nubian queen out for revenge at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in this inaugural Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Amari's Revenge in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. A long time ago, in a ghetto far, far away, I wanted to work in comics. However, over the last couple of months, I'm really rethinking that dream of working in comics because when I look at the whole business side of the comic book industry, it's not a place I want to be at all. And now, a couple of months ago, I made a video talking about how the kinds of comics that comic publishers are making, whether they be Marvel, DC, Image, Dynamite, Boom, or many of the independent creators out here like your boy Zach or guys like Young Rippa 59, these are not the comics I want to produce, nor is it the kind of content that I feel comfortable with going out here and sharing with readers. And when I look at the overall comic book business as an overall institution, the whole environment is extremely toxic based on what I've seen on social media, whether it be comics Twitter or comics YouTube or even comics Facebook. And this whole environment is one that I really am seeing as one that I don't want to be a part of based on the complete lack of professionalism I have seen from many who are a part of this space. Now, as someone who came from independent trade publishing and is a novelist, a screenwriter, and a guy who has written nonfiction like The Man Crisis and The Woman Crisis, not to mention the Simp series, I noticed that when it comes to independent trade publishing, there's a lot more professionalism among those writers than what I've seen as related to the entirety of the entire comic publishing space, because what I've seen done in the comic publishing space are not people who are looking to go out here and compete in a professional manner. No, what I'm seeing these days from those so-called comics pros is behavior that is far less than professional, and I don't want to be a part of an environment where people are not interested in going out here and getting books in the hands of readers, but out here going out here to look to go out here and get into online beefs and go into back and forths. No, as a professional who goes out here and puts fingers to the keyboard on 4 to 6 books a year, what I'm looking to do is go out here and reach a larger audience and go out here and generate those sales. And that's what I thought many people wanted to do as related to the comic social media. When I heard about movements like Comicsgate, I thought these people were all about trying to get the entire comic book industry out of the slump that it's been in for the last 30 years. However, looking at the behavior of many of the comic professionals out here, they're not really about trying to get this industry back on track and trying to generate sales to reach that new audience of readers. No, more are interested in getting into these social media back and forths as related to whatever issues they're having, because this goes even beyond what they called the social justice agenda that many of the Comicsgate individuals said that they were having an issue with. No, what's happening here is that these individuals on both sides, whether it be the Comicsgates or the social justice types, most of these people are more concerned about getting attention on social media rather than focusing on going out here and putting their best work on their page. Now, as a writing professional, my goal is to go out here and put my best work on the page, because my page is how I get noticed. My page is how I generate sales. My page is how I build my brand and my reputation. And that's one of the reasons why I came to YouTube after doing blogs from about 2007 to about 2013, because I had a blog that was so popular it got 2 million hits, and I came to YouTube so people could get to know me, get to know my work, and hope to further build and expand the SJS Direct imprint from going to just doing trade books like I do as related to fantasy, such as the ISIS series, such as the Esteem series, the John Haynes series, novels like The Temptation of John Haynes, novels like Eternal Night, The Thetas, and my Spinsterella books like Spellbound, The Legendary Mad Matilda, and Spinsterella, and the upcoming Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer, and my nonfiction books like the Simp series like Stop Simpin' and The Man Crisis. I wanted to further expand and achieve a dream that I wanted to achieve ever since I was about 9 years old, where I wanted to go out here and start creating comics on the SJS Direct imprint. I wanted to go out here and create comics that were basically all ages comics, comics that were PG-13, that were meant for readers of all ages, books that people could feel safe about putting on their coffee table, books they could feel safe about having on their kitchen table, books that you could feel like you're safe sharing with your children. That's what I wanted to bring to comics. But when I look at this industry, it's not a business environment that is about going out here and creating a family entertainment, or creating even an environment that I believe people would feel safe about sharing with their kids. No, the modern comic book industry has become a sewer in and of itself, a sewer where people are just interested in going into, again, back and forth with each other, because they value YouTube AdSense dollars rather than trying to save this business. They value YouTube AdSense dollars more than trying to get comics in the hands of new readers. And what's really sad to me about this entire comic book business is that as we had the success of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we basically missed an opportunity to reach a generation of readers after losing to another generation of readers 20 years ago. And instead of people looking at this opportunity we missed and really feeling sad about it, what we have is people going into back and forths that started with social justice warriors on Twitter and Comicsgate guys, and things have further escalated. And as they've escalated, we've gone from seeing the social justice warriors fighting with the comics YouTubers and Comicsgate to now the Comicsgate YouTubers basically fighting each other. And as they fight each other, all of them have this delusion in their head that they're going to be the savior of the comic book industry with their independent comics. And they believe that because they've made a little bit of money by grifting those who love comics, that they're gonna have success. But I don't see the industry growing at all. And I'm a guy who, again, is very passionate about comics, because comics were how I learned to read at 4 years old. And ever since I was 9 years old, I wanted to make comics. But when I look at this business, it's not one I want to be a part of, because this business isn't about going out here and reaching the general public. No, it's become a self-contained fiefdom of guys who want to, again, continue to have their YouTube beefs, have their YouTube arguments, and the customers have basically moved on. I mean, I was sitting there talking to one of my family members about my anxiety issues, and as she was telling me about how, this dream I had about comics, she was sitting there telling me, this whole world has completely changed, and I had to agree with her. Yeah, this world has completely changed, and it's hard to reach those youngsters with comics, because many of the adults whose median age for comic book reading is now about 50 years old. That median age of readers basically is on the road to something I wrote about in one of my blogs. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago, I wrote in one of my blogs that comic books were becoming like Crown Pilot crackers. I mean, I remember Nabisco making Crown Pilot crackers ever since from about 1900 to about 2000, and they had to stop making Crown Pilot crackers because the median age of the customer was in their 50s, and the same thing that was a product that one of my late sisters enjoyed, which was Royal Lunch Milk crackers. My late handicapped sister loved Royal Lunch Milk crackers, but they don't make them anymore because the median age of a customer was her age, and she was 58 at the time. So they stopped making these products because the median audience had gotten older, and many of the people who used to buy comics, again, they've basically grown old, and we haven't replaced those customers with younger customers. We haven't replaced them with younger customers, mainly because the comic book industry in and of itself is filled with people who are their own worst enemy, and with these people being their own worst enemy, they are basically undermining any sort of progress the comic book industry could have made during that time from about 2018, when we saw guys like Ethan Van Sciver making $1 million and many other people like your boy Zach making hundreds of thousands of dollars. We could have had some progress there. Unfortunately, these guys started becoming their own worst enemy, and like the social justice warriors they complained about, they're basically eating their own tail along with those comic professionals who go out here and form Whisper Networks that work against independent creators like myself who have been around for years, have been talked about on many comic book message boards. I mean, people have known about me as far back as 2011, and I find it interesting that those folks will go out here and hire a Tumblr person when they see my record of, again, consistency and professionalism. But this industry isn't about professionalism, and since it's not about professionalism, I believe it's just time to charge the whole comic book industry to the game and just keep it moving. I mean, I believe it's just time to, again, charge the whole comic book industry to the game, because if they're not making the kind of comics that I want to make, or want to reach the audiences I want to reach, or go out here and reach the customer bases I want to build, this is not the business for me. And when I look at this business, it's basically a complete mess like the days before Jim Shooter came to fix Marvel. I remember the days before Jim Shooter came to Marvel and read in his blog about how it was basically chaotic, and we've got the same kind of chaos going on because many of these people are not focused on business. No, they're focused on trying to, again, clout chase to get these YouTube clicks and views. They're focused on trying to go out here and get these clicks and views with these back and forths. And what's even sadder is that the crowdfunding platforms are enabling this behavior by going out here and banning people like they did in the case of John De La Rose, and not really focused on the business of competition. No, what people are doing is getting into these back and forths, getting into these beefs, and again undermining themselves. Meanwhile, all of the customers you're trying to target, those younger customers, they are out here on their cell phones, and as they're on their cell phones, they are out here watching TikTok and going out here and possibly looking at manga. They're looking at ebooks like I produce on the SJS Direct imprint. They're basically going out here reaching buying other products. And if they're out here buying other products, this is where I have to sit there and wonder, do I want to continue investing in trying to make another comic? Because I had a plan to go make another comic. I wanted to do an ISIS comic to go along with the John Haynes comic and the Esteemed comic that I did. I wanted to do an ISIS graphic novel, and I'd been saving up money as related to things. And when I look at this business, I don't see a business, again, where I can go out here and do this. I don't really see it where I can get that kind of support to be able to get that kind of project out and be able to cover the cost. Moreover, I don't really see how I can go out here and rally that support, because a lot of artists these days are basically are blowing me off these days. So I really don't see an environment where I can go out here and make comics, and I don't really see how persevering for this goal is beneficial to me as related to the anxiety and other issues I've been having with as related to things. So while I've had this dream, again, a long time ago in a ghetto far, far away in the South Bronx in the 1980s, as I was living across the street from the railroad tracks of the Metro North Railroad, I had this dream of being in comics. But sometimes I believe that, you have to let a dream die if you want to live. Sometimes you have to let a dream die because the whole quest for that dream really wasn't one that was viable. And when I look at the whole state of the modern 2024 comic book industry, whether it be the mainstream publishers or the independent publishers, I don't really see it as a place that I want to be. No, I don't see it as a place I want to be where people are not looking to go out here and show their best work as related to their page. They're not looking to promote their work the way I do on this channel, whether it be with the ads you see for my books or the promotions for my books. You will see me always going out here pushing my work. That's what a publisher and a creator is supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be selling your work. You're supposed to be connecting with the audience and trying to get the audience to care about your products and build up that anticipation for your products. That's what you're supposed to be doing. But sadly, many of these creators, again, as they look to go out here and clout chase, they let people get to know them. And sadly, as we ironically get to know them, like we've gotten to know Mark Waid and many of the other comics YouTubers, we're seeing people that we don't like, and even worse, we don't respect. I mean, with the case of Mark Waid, what he did to Zach back in 2018 was egregious. I mean, he basically denied this man a right to get his comic to distribution, and furthermore, we're seeing more of this back and forth, again, from people trying to undercut each other, and as you do this, you wind up alienating the customer. You alienate the customers like myself, who have been dropping donations to Kickstarters for many years to support many indie creators. But when I look at the behavior of some of these creators, it's basically making me want to put my money in my pocket, keep my money in my pocket, because this is not, again, an environment I want to be a part of. I mean, I don't want to be a part of an environment where it's all back and forth. This one doesn't like this one doesn't like that one. No, sell me your work. Sell me your books. Let me know what's great in your books. Give me previews of comic pages. Give me that. I mean, that's what I was doing during the John Haynes at Death's Door Kickstarter. I mean, I went out here and again, and with the help of a viewer, basically was able to get that comic to the marketplace, struggled to get that comic to the marketplace, and didn't get much press from Comics YouTube. Again, I look at Comics YouTube and I look at comics social media, and again, I look at this overall comic book industry, and I see it as a dying business that I cannot help, and there's nothing I can do for it. I mean, you can only help those who want to help themselves. I said this way back in 2011 when I looked at DC's New 52, when I said it was like dealing with an alcoholic or a drug addict. They have to acknowledge they have a problem in order to fix the problem, but the comic book industry doesn't want to fix its problem. And again, like that addict or that alcoholic, they basically have to hit rock bottom. Sadly, that's what I see happening here. And as I see it at 51, it's just basically time to, again, turn the page on this dream of doing comics. Then sadly, I'm not going to be able to do that ISIS graphic novel I've dreamed of doing, and again, worked on scripts to do. Sadly, I'm not going to be able to do that, and again, not going to be able to work in this business the way I dreamed of working in this business. I wanted to, again, give back to this business that taught me how to read and basically gave me escapes when I was being bullied as a teenager. Comics basically helped me all throughout my life, and I wanted to give back to that hobby, give back to this hobby that I was so passionate about, but it seems like I'm not going to be able to do that. So what I'm going to do is put a period at the end of things. Now, there are guys who I'm still going to support their Kickstarters as related to their comics. I may still do reviews, but the whole thing as related to their comic to get the word out about their books. But as related to this business and this dream is over for me. And this guy who had dreams a long time ago in a ghetto far, far away in the South Bronx no longer has dreams of being in comics, but has a quest to move on with his life. Move on with his life because there's nothing I can do to help comics get out of the jam that they're in. No, there's nothing I can do to help anybody here, and no way I can get help for myself. And again, if I stay here, I will just get dragged down. So that's why I gotta charge the whole comic book industry to the game and just keep it pushing. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes' Illuminati, the man who rules the world, takes on the head of the global elite in this all-new action-packed John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' Illuminati in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Esteem Horror in the Hamptons. The aspiring angel tries to escape a house of horrors in this action-packed, all-new Esteem series adventure. Get your copy of Esteem Horror in the Hamptons in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.